My name is Larry Latson. I'm 49 years old, and I died for 11 minutes. What Jesus showed me changed everything I know. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a theologian. I repair HVAC units for a living, and I've been doing it for going on 26 years. I'm not the kind of man who stands up in front of people and talks, but I made a promise, and I intend to keep it. So bear with me. How it happened, it was a Tuesday morning in October. I was up on the roof of a commercial building just outside of town, a grocery distribution center, big flat roof, nothing pretty about it. My partner Darnell was on the ground level. I was working on a rooftop unit, a 20-year-old compressor that had no business still being in service. I was crouched down, had my hand inside the unit, and that's the last thing I remember clearly. What they told me later is that there was an electrical fault, something in the wiring that wasn't supposed to still be live. I took a significant shock, went into cardiac arrest, and fell off the unit. Darnell heard the fall and came running. He had CPR training, thank God. He worked on me for close to 4 minutes before the paramedics arrived. They shocked me twice on the scene. My heart started again in the back of the ambulance. Total time without a heartbeat, according to the medical report, 11 minutes. 11 minutes. That doesn't sound long, but I want to tell you, time does not work the same way on the other side. What I experienced in those 11 minutes felt like it could have been a week, maybe longer. I don't have the words for it, honestly, but I'm going to do my best. Leaving the body wasn't afraid when it started. That surprised me looking back on it. 1 second I'm on that roof, the next second I'm rising. Not floating exactly, rising, like there was somewhere I was being taken. I could see myself below, which I know sounds like every cliche you've ever heard, but I'm telling you it happened. I could see Darnell working on my chest. I could see my boots. I remember thinking that my left bootlace was untied, and then the roof was gone. The building was gone. Everything I could recognize was gone, and I was somewhere else entirely. The place I arrived in, I don't know what else to call it, was filled with light. Not blinding, not harsh. The closest thing I can compare it to is the kind of light you get on a clear October morning when the sun is low and the air is still. Warm, present. Like the light itself was aware of you. I wasn't scared. That's the thing I keep coming back to. In my life, I've had moments of genuine fear. Accidents, close calls, watching someone I love suffer. But standing in that light, I felt the complete absence of fear. Something better than peace. Something I don't have a word for in English. The presence, and then he was there. I didn't see a face, not in the way I'm looking at yours right now. But there was a presence. And I know that word doesn't do it justice, but that's the word. A presence that I knew immediately. Not because I'd seen it before with my eyes, because something deep inside me recognized it the way a child recognizes its father's voice. Something in me knew. I knew it was Jesus. I don't know how to explain that any more clearly than that. And I just knew, and the first thing that happened, the very first thing, was not that he spoke words to me. It was that I felt seen, completely and totally seen. Not judged, not condemned, not evaluated. Seen, like every wall I'd ever put up, every version of myself I'd ever performed for somebody else, every carefully managed impression I tried to make. None of it existed there. There was just Larry, all of me, and he knew all of it, and he was not disappointed. I'm a grown man. I've shed maybe a handful of tears in my adult life, and most of those were at funerals. But standing in that presence, I wept. Not from sadness, from something I can only call relief. Like a weight I'd been carrying so long I'd forgotten it was heavy. Just lifted. What he showed me, 3 but 1. Now I want to talk about the main thing he showed me. Because this is the reason I'm standing here. This is what he told me to carry back. I grew up going to church off and on. I'd heard about the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, 3 in 1. I nodded at it the way you nod at things you don't understand but don't want to admit. It was like a math problem that doesn't resolve. 3 equals 1. That doesn't make sense to the human mind, and I think most people, if they're honest, just file it in the drawer marked mystery and move on. What Jesus showed me didn't make it simple. It's still beyond full human understanding. but he showed me the truth of it in a way that, I don't know how to put this, a way that landed inside me rather than just in my head. He began by showing me light, the same warm, aware light that had been all around me since I arrived. And he said, not in words exactly, but in something that communicated directly into my understanding. He said, think about the nature of this light. I thought about it. Light doesn't divide itself to reach different places. The same light that's on your face is on the wall behind you. It doesn't run out. It doesn't weaken because more of it is needed somewhere. It's one thing expressed everywhere it touches. And then he showed me something deeper. He showed me himself, not his appearance, but his nature. And he showed me the Father, and he showed me the Spirit. And they were not three separate things looking at each other from across a room. They were, and I know this will sound strange, they were one will, one love, one purpose, one being expressed in three distinct ways. The Father, he showed me, is the source, the origin, the eternal, an absolute reality behind all things. When Moses asked who God was, and God said, I am who I am, that was what he was showing me, not a name, a nature, the one who simply is. Before time, outside time, the foundation beneath everything. The Son, Jesus, standing before me. He is that same eternal being made reachable. He is the Word made flesh, is how the Gospel of John puts it. The infinite stooping to become finite so that what is finite can be brought into the infinite. He showed me that without the Son, there is no way for something as broken as a human being to stand in the presence of something as holy as God. Not because God is unwilling, but because the gap is too great. And the Son closed the gap, not by lowering the standard, but by crossing the distance himself. And the Spirit, he showed me the Spirit as the living presence of that same God, dwelling in and among and through his people. Not a force, not a feeling, a person. The same being, moving, breathing, convicting, comforting, guiding. He is how the Father and the Son are present with us now. He is how what happened 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem is not history, but present reality for anyone who opens their heart to it. And the thing he kept coming back to, the thing he really wanted me to understand, is that these three are not like three committee members who vote and reach a consensus. They are one love that expresses itself in three ways, because love, by its nature, involves the one who loves, the one who is loved, and the love that flows between them. And the Trinity is not a theological puzzle. It is the eternal nature of love itself. I know I'm not saying this perfectly. I don't think human language has the tools for it, but he showed me the reality of it, and I felt it, and it changed everything. The question he asked me at some point in that experience, and again, I can't give you a timeline the way I'd give you a timeline for anything that's ever happened on Earth. He turned the fullness of his attention toward me, and I felt the question before he asked it. I felt it the way you feel a thunderstorm rolling in before you can see it. He asked me, Larry, do you know me? Not do you know about me? Not can you recite the right answers? Do you know me? I want to tell you that I had a great answer ready. I want to tell you I said yes without hesitation. But the truth is, I stood there in that light with all my walls stripped away, and I understood that I had known about him for most of my life and known him personally for very little of it. I believed he existed the way I believe Australia exists. I've never been there, but I accept the evidence. That's not knowing somebody. And I said, and I meant it more than I've meant anything, I said not the way I should, not the way I want to, and what he did next. This is the part that undoes me every time I tell it. What he did next was smile, not with condemnation behind it, with joy. Like that was exactly what he'd been waiting to hear. Like the honest answer was the beginning of everything, not the end of it. He said, then come and know me. Being sent back, I don't know how much longer I was there after that. What I know is that at some point it became clear that I was not staying. There was more for me back on that roof. There were people, things left undone, a life that wasn't finished. And he made it clear, not cruelly, not like I was being punished. He made it clear that going back was part of the purpose, not a consolation prize for missing the main event. He said to me, "Tell them what I showed you. Tell them that I am three and I am one, and that I have always been, and that love is the reason. Tell them that the gap is closed. Tell them that I am reachable." And then I was back. I came to in the ambulance with a paramedic's face about 8 inches from mine. My chest felt like it had been worked over with a sledgehammer. Every breath hurt. I started crying immediately and I could not stop for the better part of an hour. Not from pain, one from the difference between where I had just been and where I now was. The contrast was the sharpest thing I'd ever experienced. What is different now? That was 14 months ago. I want to tell you what is different. I am not afraid of death anymore. I want to be clear that I'm not trying to seem braver than I am. I was plenty afraid before. The idea of ceasing to exist, the darkness, the unknown. That fear was a real thing in my life, running underneath everything. It's gone now. I don't mean I'm reckless. I mean the fear itself has been replaced by something I can only call certainty. I know where I'm going. I know who I'm going to. That changes the way you live the time you have. I pray differently now. Before, prayer felt like leaving a message and hoping someone checked the inbox. Now I know there's someone on the other end. Yak, the same presence I stood in on that other side. The Spirit is how He is with us here, and I feel Him. Not always in the dramatic way, sometimes quietly, but He's there. I've also become less interested in the arguments and more interested in the person. There are people who want to debate the Trinity, who's right, whose theology is correct, which denomination has the best handle on it. I don't have a lot of patience for that anymore. Not because the truth doesn't matter, but because I met the one the truth is about. You can argue about the nature of fire from across the room, or you can stand near it and feel the heat. I've stood near it. The arguing seems smaller now, and I want to say this, because I think it's the most important practical thing I took away from what he showed me about his nature. He is reachable. And that is the whole point of the Son. That is the whole point of the Spirit. The Father is not sitting behind 14 locked doors that you have to solve your way through. Jesus opened the door. The Spirit is standing in it right now, calling. You don't have to have a theology degree. You don't have to be a better person first. You don't have to clean yourself up and then come. You come as you are, and He does the cleaning. I came as a man who knew about Him, but didn't really know Him, and He received me like I was exactly who He'd been expecting. Why I'm here, He told me to tell you. That's why I'm here. I'm not a natural speaker. I wrote out what I wanted to say 4 different times before I came today and threw out 3 versions. I was up at 4 this morning going over it again, because I am aware of the weight of what I'm carrying, and I don't want to get it wrong, so let me say it as plainly as I know how. God is real, not as a concept, not as a cultural inheritance, not as a useful story. He is real in the most solid, concrete, undeniable way that anything can be real. More real than this floor, more real than my own hands. He exists. He is aware of you. He is not neutral about you. Jesus is who He said He is. The gap between a holy God and a broken human being is real. I felt the truth of that gap in the light of His presence, and He crossed it. What He did on the cross is not metaphor. It is the most consequential event in the history of existence, and it is available to you today. The Spirit is present right now in this room. He is not waiting for church to be more impressive. He is not waiting for you to have it figured out. He is here. And He is the same presence I stood in for those 11 minutes, closer than you think. And the 3 of them, Father, Son, Spirit, are one God, one love, one will, one purpose. And that purpose is you. My name is Larry Latson. I'm 49 years old. I died for 11 minutes, and what I saw on the other side was not darkness, not nothing, not a tunnel at the end of which I became stardust. I saw God, and He sent me back to tell you that He is 3 and He is 1. And the reason is love, and the door's open, and all you have to do is walk through it. Thank you.